You want to build a personal brand on social media and you don't have a lot of money. You don't want to pay for paid ads. You don't have a secret investor who's going to give you a lot of millions of dollars to blow up a personal brand. You want a low-cost strategy that's going to blow up your personal brand so that you have a lot of money so then you can pay for other things, right? In this video, I'm walking through the techniques and the steps to build a personal brand. This video is not going to be very theoretical. This one is going to be like literal tactics that you can deploy right now to make the money. Let's get into it. Step one, select your short form location. It should be somewhere that has a very low barrier to entry. You should be able to reply and engage on that platform very quickly and put your ideas out into the world very quickly and impulsively. So I'm thinking Twitter, TikTok are the best. You could also do this on Instagram, but to be honest, I like Twitter and TikTok because of how impulsive it is. You literally just pull out your phone, record a sentence, and send it into the ecosphere. You were doing this on purpose. You need to test ideas before you can convert into your long form. I see a lot of people like jump right into making a podcast and right into making a YouTube channel. Don't get me wrong, you totally can. Content is content, and I say go off. And also, the best way to do it is to test some of your ideas. Make sure that people are understanding what you're saying so that when you put them into your long form pieces of content, you know that it's evergreen and that it'll actually make sense a year from now, right? The reason I like short form first is because you also get to hear the people who disagree with you. So I've made a couple of pieces of content that I thought were pretty contentious, only to find out that like pretty much everyone agrees with me. But when I posted a piece of content that said actually people are buying from a personal brand because they want to be closer to the brand, not because the brand is so superior or because, you know, they care about, you know, how great the product is, but because it came from a specific person, that's why they bought. When I posted that TikTok, everyone and their mother disagreed with me. And I was like, ka-ching, thank you so much. And so guess what? I'm making a long form video content about that exact argument. So you are putting out ideas. You have an argument, you have an opinion about the industry you're residing in, you pull out Twitter, you tweet it, you send it into the ecosphere, you get immediate feedback on how people are responding to you. I also like TikTok and Twitter because it's easier to accumulate followers, just easier than compared to, you know, YouTube or Instagram, especially on TikTok, it's a lot easier. So you're gonna select your short form location, rip that Band-Aid off, start putting your ideas into the ecosphere. Don't worry too much about like what hashtag. That's not the point right now. The point right now is to rip the Band-Aid off and start creating. Now, once you've selected and you've ripped that Band-Aid off and you are creating short form, step two is to select, and I should say you're gonna then create this. Step two, select your long form location. Right now, all you're doing is selecting for your long form. You're not actually going to create anything, and I'm going to explain why in just a moment, okay? But I want you to select, are you going to do YouTube or are you going to do podcasts? Now, if you have the capacity and you're down for it, make a video podcast because then you can do both. And that's, by the way, what this is. We also have a podcast that I take this exact same video and I pop it into the podcast sphere and it's off into the abyss. So if you have the capacity to do both video podcast or video on YouTube and put it in the podcast world, then I say go off and do that because that's better. But either way, you need to select what your long form is. And what you're going to do once you've selected it is I just want you to find 10 to 30 different titles that you can engage in. So let's say you're going to use YouTube, okay? Because we're on YouTube, it just makes sense. Let's say you're going to use YouTube. You're going to search through Keywords Everywhere. You're going to search. Keywords Everywhere is a download. I think it's like $10, and it tells you how many people have searched a certain topic or a keyword in the last month. Okay, so use Keywords Everywhere. You're going to look up titles for YouTube. And to be honest, I don't really want to digress too much on how to look up YouTube titles. Like, go find that on YouTube. This is 801 different videos on that, okay? So you're gonna look up titles, you're gonna create the title, okay? And I want you to say, when I do create YouTube, it's going to be underneath this title. Mind you, you're doing all this while still posting your short form, okay? So now you've found your 10 to 30 of these. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna start to use these as prompts. So I don't know, like if you wanna do once a day, you wanna do twice a week, you wanna do once a week, I don't really care, it doesn't matter, select a routine. And you're gonna start to use these titles as prompts, okay? And so if the title is how to blow up your YouTube channel, one day, every Wednesday, you're going to sit and write an essay on how to blow up a YouTube channel. Now, mind you, I did say write, so if you're a writer, go off and write. But if you're not a writer, I recommend using like a voice message that then gives you the caption. So one of the reasons why I like using Slack, first of all, Slack is free and I use it with my team anyway. But one of the reasons why I like using Slack is because I can talk for 5 minutes, I can respond to one of these prompts, Slack will convert it into written copy for me so that then all I have to do is copy and paste what I said into a document when I'm ready for it, which we'll get to in a second, right? So select how you decide to reply to the prompt, whether you're writing it out, whether you want to do bullet points, you want to write an essay, you want to talk into your phone, it doesn't really matter. The point is you're responding to the prompt in long form content. And mind you, you're doing that all still posting your short form ideas, okay? You haven't stopped posting your short form ideas. Now, after you have a good body of prompts and you've received intel, you've received feedback from your ideas on your short form. So you're starting to get traction. And when I say traction, I don't mean quantity of people, I mean engagement. I mean, people are responding to what you're saying. They're writing comments and they're giving you feedback about how you're delivering pieces of information, what's working, what's not, what arguments you have in the industry that are really polarizing or stark, what people like about you, et cetera, et cetera. You're starting to get that feedback. Now, approximately a month to 6 months later, you're going to start to post your prompts on that long form. Okay, so step 4, you're gonna pick a day and you're gonna batch record however many you want. like one of the reasons why you are doing the prompts throughout as opposed to all at once and just sitting down and talking and writing a prompt, you know, spending a day writing 4 YouTube scripts. One of the reasons you can do that, that's totally viable, but one of the reasons why I don't recommend doing it is because you're a creator and you're not always in the creator headspace. And even if you are in the creator headspace, you have a finite amount of time that you're in that headspace. So you may not have 12 hours one day to be creative and write 4 YouTube scripts. So it's better to be very methodical about it and say, on Wednesdays at 9 a.m., which is when I'm creative, I'm going to respond to my prompt. And then you'll have collected a body of scripts for you to say for your long form. So you're going to record your long form now. And when you do this, you're gonna do this on YouTube, you're gonna do this podcast, it doesn't really matter, you've already made that decision. You're gonna record it all, and then you're gonna eventually start to post it. So yes, I'm skipping a step because there's an editing in here. So let's talk about editing because there's an interesting thing that's gonna happen right here. Okay, in this editing stage of your long form, particularly if it's a video form, you're going to select the timestamps of that video, so of that YouTube video, while you're editing the long form YouTube. You're going to select the timestamps that you want to turn into shorts, like YouTube shorts or short forms, okay? So this is like, I don't know, select short form timestamps. Okay, and the reason it's important that you do this, you're gonna do this before you make graphics, before inputting the graphics into the video, okay? The reason you do this is because you've selected the timestamps, so then you can make sure that you are putting graphics in the timestamps that you're gonna actually use for the short form, okay? So you don't wanna spend a lot of time putting in graphics and imagery and whatever in time that literally only people who watch your long form video is gonna show. No, you wanna multi-purpose, so you're going to select the timestamps that you're going to put in your short forms, you're going to put the graphics in those timestamps, and then you're going to edit those at the exact same time that you're editing the long form. Okay, so edit, or excerpt, we should say, excerpt your short form out of your long form, okay? So now you have a whole body. You've been posting on Twitter or TikTok or whatever Impulsive, so you have that content. You've been getting feedback on that. You have a bunch of different prompts and scripts that you've been writing that are ideas that you have about whatever industry you're talking about. You have your recorded long form videos that you are in the process of editing, and while you're editing, you're creating more short form. Here's the next step. Before, you can post this, I guess, if you wanted to, or schedule them out, but really the trick here is step 5. If you post it on YouTube, and even if you have a podcast, you could still use other software apps, but you're gonna get the closed captioning paragraph, the written out paragraph of your long form. You're gonna copy and paste that into an email newsletter. Copy, paste the long form caption, closed captioning, into your email newsletter. And all you're gonna do in this stage, you're gonna take the excerpt, and it's gonna be very long. You're gonna delete only the cliffhanger that you want to leave to get people to actually watch your video or listen to your episode or whatever, okay? And you're going to, it should still be like a blog form. It should still be pretty long, but you can delete a lot of what was in that closed captioning, or just to make sure that you're not writing an email that is 3 hours long to read, okay? You're gonna delete out the cliffhanger, and you're going to then reorganize. You're gonna put little interspaces. You're gonna make sure the punctuation is good. You're gonna bolden things. You're gonna finesse it, finesse the fonts of your short form, of your email newsletter. And now, just out of your one prompt that you created, whether you were speaking into your Slack channel or you were writing a journal entry or whatever, you've now created a long form piece of content, potentially even 2 pieces of long form content if you're doing a video podcast, because then it's going in 2 places. You've then created a bunch of short form videos that you can use on YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Reels or whatever. You've also created a long form email that you can then send out to your email newsletter. And there's one more thing you get to do. Step 6. You're gonna go back into the closed captioning you had for your long form piece of content, podcast, YouTube, whatever, and you're gonna copy and paste out of that closed captioning doc. You're gonna copy and paste into tweets. And now you have about, I don't know, 20 to 500 different tweets. And when you can either literally post them on Twitter if you want, or just take the screenshot of you posting on Twitter and post it on Instagram. We always see those like Instagram, IG posts that are actually just tweet posts. You have a whole bunch of those. Now, at this point, you have an archive. Like, if you made 4 videos in your long form or 4 podcast episodes, you now have an archive of a lot of content. Some of them are going to be native, that you've run some ideas. Some of them are going to be repurposed, etc., etc. You are not going to go into later and just schedule all of them chronologically and be like, okay, we did this video, so now I'm going to put like, you know, this quote that I say at the beginning of the video on Tuesday, this quote I say in the middle of the video, so I'm going to put that on Wednesday, and I'm going to put this quote that I say on Thursday. No. Do not post it. Do not schedule everything chronologically. Your goal is to shuffle, okay? Step 7, shuffle. Okay, so that means that some content that you, like, let's say you took a short form video that you made out of one of your long form videos that you posted on Tuesday, that short form YouTube shorts may not even go live for 3-4 weeks because you just have such a large archive body of content, right? And that's perfectly okay, because the point is to constantly shuffle them, and the point is that you have an everlasting group of content. So then you're going to schedule them out, and they should be pretty unpredictable. That means that, you know, if you're, let's say hypothetically you're posting on Instagram, right? You could post a tweet post from the video, like a quote that you made in the video from 2 weeks ago, today, and tomorrow you're posting a tweet, a caption that you said in a video that's not even live yet. Maybe it comes live next week, right? So it's okay. That's how it should be. I'm sorry for the trash guy outside making a lot of ruckus. You're going to shuffle them, and then you're going to schedule them / post, right? So now you have this everlasting library of content, and it all really stemmed from you had an impulsive idea, received feedback, converted that into one prompt that then you record once and extract a lot of other mini short pieces of content. Okay, so now we have talked about the content production, how you're actually creating the content and distributing it. Now I want to talk about, and we're going to shift just slightly, about how we really solidify your content into a brand. And so that you're not just producing content into a void, but you're producing content that creates an ecosystem, a world that your audience wants to reside in. So notice I said you're creating a world. This is really key. You are creating a world that your ideal follower wants to exist in, and they are the hero of the story. You are simply the facilitator of the world. You get to design the world. You get to say what happens in the world, what is the aesthetic, what is the feeling of the world. But your ideal follower is the hero. Now, to really deep dive on the theory and the strategy behind what I just explained, that's going to be for the next video that I'm going to link at the end of this one. But as I said, this is really just the tactical one. So I want to talk about how we just deploy this literally, okay? You're going to do something called the movement thesis reinforcer process. This is something that I coined. And the first step is that you need a movement. Now, actually, you're going to have several movements if we're being completely honest. So, you know, you could have, one brand could have the 5 a.m. club, plus you could also have dessert every day, plus, you know, like Alex Hormozi has only calves and dessert every day. Those are two movements that he's part of, or that he's created. So one personal brand or one company brand can have several movements, but you need to have one key one that your audience really rallies behind. And when you're creating this movement, there's a couple of rules for it, okay? The first is that it needs to be an action or verb, okay? It needs, you're telling your audience to make an action, to go do something. For example, Nike, just do it. Kia Soul, applause. You know, Alex Hormozi has dessert every day, eat dessert every day, right? There's a lot of people who use the 5 a.m. club that tells you go to the gym at 5 a.m. So you can see in these that sometimes the action is implied, but to be honest, the best movements are explicit, where it's easily understood. And that brings me to my next point, which is that it should be less than 5 words. Oops, sorry. 5 words or less, and it should be easily hashtagable and easily communicated. And that brings it to the next point, which really makes it a movement, is how easily dispensed is it to other people. So it should be very obtuse, such that a lot of people can understand it, a lot of people can agree with it, a lot of people rally behind it. It's an obtuse idea that a lot of people are like, yeah, this is it, right? You're not really trying, your movement doesn't need to be very contentious. It doesn't need to be very arguable. It doesn't need to be very polarizing, not for the movement anyway, okay? The movement is just meant to be something that people rally behind, that people are like, yes, I am part of this club. It's about being part of the clique, okay? You are making your audience say, I want to be in this world because this world stands for this clique. It's like, I want to be the jock club. I want to be in the drama club. I want to be in the whatever. Like, I am finding my clique, and that is it. Yes? The next step is the thesis. So your thesis of your world or of your brand needs to be arguable. Like, if you are, it can't be unlock fear, have clarity. Like, those are not arguable, okay? Manifest your millions. That's not arguable. Like, is there anyone who's like, I want you to stay fearful? Is there anyone who is like, I want you to not have any clarity in your life? I want you to not exercise your dog. I want you to not, you know, like, all of those things are movements. They are not theses, okay? A thesis is going to be arguable, and it's going to be a quick assessment just for the people who disagree with you. You are not, it will rally people who agree with you, but for the people who are in the middle, they're gonna look at the bigger picture, they're gonna look at everything else to make a decision on how they feel about you. This thesis that you put into the universe, where it's like, I don't know, your hashtag or your Instagram bio, or it's, you know, one of the first things you say in your YouTube video, etc., etc. This thesis is really just meant to get rid really quickly of the people who fundamentally, to their core, disagree with what you have to say. So for example, the thesis for my personal brand is you can be a creator and an entrepreneur. those two things are the exact same thing. Entrepreneurs are creators, creators are entrepreneurs. You don't have to decide. You don't have to be, a salesperson or create content and be artistic and be deep and be a deep thinker. You can do both. Believe it or not, I know it's crazy. A lot of people disagree with that. But I've gotten a lot of hate saying that actually you need to pick one. And like, there's a lot of gurus that are even YouTube creators that will tell you that like you're producing content like a creator. You're not producing content like an entrepreneur. And it's like, dude, it's both, right? So that's the thesis of my personal brand. Now, this is going to be a full sentence, okay? And you're going to use this sentence, and the trick here is to write the sentence, okay? When you find it, write the sentence. And you're usually gonna find your sentence out of one of the short form pieces of content that you created that a lot of people disagree with. So remember when I said you're gonna create on TikTok, let's say you're gonna pull out a TikTok video, you're gonna have an idea, you're gonna share it, it's very impulsive, it's very in the moment, it's gonna go viral. A lot of people are gonna disagree with it. They're gonna say, you're crazy, this is ridiculous, da, 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 da. But a handful of people are still gonna like it and say, this is it. My friend, you just found one of your theses, if not the thesis, okay? So you're gonna find your sentence. The trick here is to take this sentence and then diversify let's say step A is create the thesis, right? Step B would be diversify the language. So find a way to say the exact same thing, the exact same thesis, 800 different ways. And this is going to be something that you return to over and over and over again, okay? You're constantly finding a new and better way to say the exact same thing that you say all the time, okay? So the best thing that you can do for your thesis is find a way to say it 800 different directions, okay? So it's arguable, you can say it in a lot of different directions, and underneath this thesis, it has a lot of like sub-claims or sub-arguments, right? So you have, 10 to 30 opinions that come out of this main core thesis. You have a bunch of little mini opinions that come out of it, yes? The next step, and I'm running out of time so I gotta wrap this up. The next step is reinforcers. Now, there are reinforcers, as I say, for your product or service that get people to lock in as a lifetime value customer. These reinforcers for your brand are lifetime value followers, okay? So you are trying to get the lifetime value of your follower. They are in it for the long game. They're not just gonna watch you and let you drift out of their algorithm in 2 months. No. They are a lifetime follower. You could go through 5 different companies and they're still gonna be rallying behind you because they are invested. That is the purpose of reinforcers, is to really lock in that lifetime value of your followership. Now, your reinforcers come after they've committed. So if you've watched this video for the very first time, after you subscribe to me, my reinforcer needs to be that when you commit to my, when you hit the notification bell to subscribe to my channel, the next video is going to still be valuable to you. It's still going to be relevant to you. It's still going to be effective. It's going to be just as, if not more, relevant to you than this video is. That's a reinforcer. Another reinforcer is that you appear, your content appears on your audience's feed consistently and predictably. So at the exact same time, I know on Wednesday at 9 a.m. I'm going to get an email from Jenna. Like, it is consistent, right? So the reinforcers also have a lot to do with predictability. The predictability of the delivery and predictability of the quality, yeah? Now, another reinforcer that you have is the if you know content. This is my favorite piece of content for reinforcers. So the if you know. Now, how this works is, let's say you have a YouTube channel. And let's say you have a good audience on your YouTube channel. You're going to intentionally post a video that is not SEO friendly, that is not talking about one of the mainstream topics, is talking about a very specific topic. And it might be telling a very specific story. And you're going to congratulate your audience when they click on the video to watch. You're going to tell them, look, I'm well aware that this video is not going to get a lot of views. I'm well aware that this video is not for like the mainstream. This video is just for people who are really committed to my content. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm going to talk about something pretty deep with you today. You are literally telling them that you know they're close to you. You're calling out the spade, and it makes them feel seen. It makes them feel really special because they're like, oh my God, she knows that I'm important. It's a great if you know strategy. The best thing that you can do for your brand is to make sure your audience always knows that you know they're there. And you can do this in a lot of ways. You can do this very overtly. You can do this by putting out great content that they want to click on, et cetera, et cetera. You could do this by making sure that when you communicate, you feel like you're actually communicating to someone, not just to a camera in a room by yourself. There's a lot of ways to subliminally do this, but when you can really call it out and say, I know a lot of people are not going to watch this video, or I know that this is not a piece of content that like most people care about, but I see that you see that it's important, and I love that. Thank you so much for that support. I really appreciate it. And in return, I'm going to give you something, right? You really call out that spade. Now, I know this video was very tactical, it was very technician oriented, it was very like technique, step, actionable. If you're looking for a more strategic, theoretical principles, and you're really looking to understand like how all these techniques are moving, how did I get to this technique, then this video is gonna be the next video for you to binge. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.